A plan to build an Ebola quarantine center exclusively for American citizens has been unveiled in Kenya, a country that does not currently have an Ebola outbreak. The facility would serve only CDC personnel, departing from existing policy under which infected staff are repatriated to the United States for treatment. Former senior U.S. officials have noted that the plan also removes support from local health workers managing the actual outbreak. Kenya's government has not publicly objected to hosting a foreign-only medical facility on its soil during a disease emergency it is not experiencing. The relevant Kenyan health ministry was informed approximately 2 weeks after the announcement. The U.S. service has announced the closure of several research facilities on the grounds that the agency must reduce expenditure. An internal review subsequently found that the facilities being closed cost less to operate than the facilities that will replace their functions. The agency has not issued a correction. The closures are proceeding. Aviation executives flew from around the world to Rio de Janeiro this week to attend the International Air Transport Association annual general meeting, at which the central agenda item was the aviation industry's fuel supply crisis. Delegates were reminded upon arrival that jet fuel availability is the sector's most pressing strategic concern. The conference materials included a section on the carbon cost of unnecessary long-haul travel. The summit was described by organizers as a productive use of the week. The final communiqué runs to 37 pages and does not address the journey to get there. One of the remaining stories involves a marine mammal and a threat that required government intervention to resolve. Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas, has passed several years aggressively prosecuting Latino civic organizations on the grounds that they represent a threat to electoral integrity. He is now running for the United States Senate in a state where Latino voters represent a decisive demographic bloc. His campaign has identified Latino outreach as a priority. Paxton's office simultaneously continues to pursue litigation against the same organizations his campaign is now attempting to court. The relevant voter registration groups have not paused their court cases to accommodate his schedule. A network of banquets organized under the banner Le Canon has become a significant political controversy in France after the gatherings were found to be exclusively attended by white participants. The events are described by organizers as celebrations of traditional French cuisine and conviviality. The radical left has demanded they be investigated. The French Interior Ministry has noted that attending a dinner is not, under current law, a criminal act. The banquets continue to be fully booked. It does not improve from here. Canadian warehouse workers employed by the first collective bargaining agreement in the company's history in Canada, covering pay, conditions, and dispute resolution. Walmart has operated in Canada since 1994. The union representing the workers has described the agreement as historic. Walmart has described it as a constructive outcome. The previous 31 years were not elaborated upon. Virunga, the Democratic Republic of Congo, home to one of the world's last remaining populations of mountain gorillas, is now simultaneously managing an Ebola containment effort, an armed conflict with multiple militia groups, and a vaccination program for primates. Rangers are administering protective protocols to gorillas while conducting security patrols in active conflict zones. The gorillas cannot be informed of the situation. The park remains open to researchers. Canada has endorsed a plan to relocate 30 beluga whales currently held at Marineland, an amusement park in Ontario, to sanctuaries in Spain and across the United States. The endorsement follows a period during which Marineland indicated it might euthanize the animals if no arrangement was reached. The whales will travel internationally. Marineland has described the resolution as satisfactory. The option that was briefly on the table has not been elaborated upon in the government statement. An African draft treaty circulated this week declares that sexual and reproductive health rights constitute, in its precise language, an existential threat to the African family. The Charter rejects long-standing international frameworks on gender equality and bodily autonomy, and has been co-signed by representatives of 31 member states. Human rights organizations have described the document as one of the most regressive instruments produced by a multilateral body in the past decade. The treaty includes a preamble affirming the dignity and well-being of all African people. Legal adoption requires ratification by a further 12 states. A draft of a continent condemning reproductive rights as an existential threat was submitted on Tuesday. On Wednesday, Anthony Head, the British actor known for Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Ted Lasso, died at the age of 72 following complications from pneumonia. His agent confirmed the death in a statement. His publicist noted that tributes had been received from across the entertainment industry. The two events are unrelated and occurred in the same week, which is the kind of sentence that only needs to be written once. That is the week. Every Sunday. Sleep well.